This is the lesson chemistry in everyday life. Now let's take the easier lessons before starting with the numericals lesson. So I'm taking the last lesson of chemistry in everyday life. Actually, this lessons comes in like this is actually the lesson which tells you the periphery of chemistry in different areas, like how we are using chemistry in food industry, food technology, how we are using chemistry to form the medical sciences. So there is a vast, you can say, periphery of the chemistry where you are going to see the different chemicals which are used in different forms of industry. Predominantly, just a minute. Yeah, sorry. Let's coming back to the work. So in my 11th standard, the chemistry in everyday chemistry which we are learning, that we are learning in related with the food industry, food products. Then we are going to learn the chemistry related with the medical, like in medicines, medical product, and the last how we can use it in the synthetic, you can say the detergents, cleansing agent. So in my 11th standard, we are going to learn about the chemical substances which we used in the food industry, medical sciences, and the cleansing agent. So there's three parameters of, you can say, the different areas where we are going to learn the industry, and when we are going to learn the certain terms which are used in that industry. That is, what is that rancidity? What do you mean by fermentation? Or when I'm talking about a medical science, what is analgesic? What is painkiller? So all this we are going to learn. And if you go on studying chemistry in the higher science, you will have the where in the laboratory you will prepare certain products. So in short, me 11th standard la chemistry related to these three areas बघणार. In my 12th standard, I'm going to learn the chemistry related with the polymer chemistry. Polymer chemistry म्हणजे जसं chemistry मी 11th standard ला food industry, medical sciences, cleansing agent म्हणून use करणार आहे. In my 12th standard, I'm going to learn the chemistry or the chemical substances which are used in basically polymer industry, like how we can get the different polymers, like nylon 6, nylon 66, terylene, all that plastic and polymer industry, how we can use the chemistry. So that part we are going to learn in our 12th standard. Even there is a one more important component where the biomolecules, something we have in biology also, like how chemistry, all the nutrients, like what are carbohydrates, glucose, then we know about disaccharides like sucrose. All those components they use to the body and their chemistry. So where we are talking about the carbohydrates, where we are going to talk about the proteins, amino acids, what are enzymes. So all that part, and the last part of this, you can say, section of the chemistry which is there in 12th standard, which is in, like in my 11th standard they have just given me one lesson, and in my one lesson they are covering everything of chemistry in everyday life. So in my chemistry in everyday life, in my 11th standard, I'm doing the chemistry involved in the food technology, cleansing agent, medical sciences. But in my 12th standard, there will be three lessons. Three lessons will only related with the chemistry in everyday life, where we are going to study in depth about the polymer chemistry, in depth about the biomolecule, something what we have done in biology in our school level 10th standard. And the last part is the new form of chemistry, which is the nanotechnology, nanochemistry. So where the nanoparticles, that means you must be knowing about आता हे सगळं जे gigabytes किंवा एकदम जे छोटे minute particles आहेत, how we are using in the different forms of chemistry. Let it be chemical engineering, or you can say computers. हे जे सगळे जे components आहेत, which is the nanochemistry, nanotechnology, that is there in the 12th standard, which is a newly added lesson. So this is a chemistry in everyday life. So a general idea Ali, are you understanding the general idea of chemistry in everyday life? So after this lesson, then we'll go with the numerical wala lesson. Is it okay? Shall we begin with the lesson? Hello everyone, good morning. सकाळी सगळ्यांची झोप झालेली आहे. आय सपोज थंडीत उठायचा सगळ्यांना कंटाळा येतो. So let's begin with the topic. So open your notebook. First of all, मी एक generalized idea सांगणार आहे. So you are going to pen down the generalized idea about the chemistry. These are my micro notes of the chemistry in everyday life, where the content we are just going to write down the definition and the content what we are going to see, and then with the content we are going to see with the elaborate study of what are the components which we are using in our everyday life. So let's have your pen and paper. I'm writing something on the whiteboard and you are simultaneously going to pen down that part. I'll do the explanation later on. Okay, let's pen down the part. We'll do the that explanation later on. So let's begin. कोणीतरी एक मिनिट. Yeah. Okay. Chemistry. Me एक एक whiteboard वर जे लिहिते ना, that I'll explain you. Just put first you pen down what I'm writing on the board. So these are my general notes of chemistry in everyday life. So we are going to learn some aspects, important notes. First is we are dealing with the food chemistry. First is quality of food. Just write down, I'll explain you everything later on. Done? Hello everyone.
हम 2 मिनिटं.
Okay.
झालंय मॅम.
झालंय सगळ्यांचं? Hello. Hello. Everyone, shall I start explanation?
हो मॅम.
अरे काय झालंय? क्लिअर का होतंय? Can you see the screen share? ती इरेज का होतंय रे? Hello.
माहित नाही.
का करून होत नाहीये? Hello. Have you written everyone? पण ती क्लिअर का झाली ऑटोमॅटिकली?
दिलंय सगळं.
हा? But can
सगळं
you
लिहिलंय.
have you written that part? Hello. Hello. सगळ्यांनी लिहिलं
हो
होतं
मॅम.
का?
हो
Hello.
मॅम.
हो मॅम.
Let's begin with the working. So we have started a general chemical, like this is a lesson which I'll feel na ki the rest of the lessons आपण जे केलेले आहेत ना, this is something which is the theory part. पण practically ज्या lessons चा पुढे practical application आहे ना, त्यामध्ये that is one of the this I find this lesson is very very important because you want to do the further your education in the field of food technology, or you can say pharmaceutical industry. Is all this is the primary thing, that how the different drugs are being formed, synthetic dyes and or the polymer chemistry. This is the actually application based chemistry. Just the way I have told you, we are going to learn about the certain components of chemistry which we use in our day-to-day life. As I've told you, 3 we are going to learn in our 11th standard, and the sum of the polymer chemistry, the biomolecules, the enzymes, and the nanochemistry, that's there in 12th standard. So what am I having in my 11th standard? Food industry, cleansing industry, and the medicinal industry. So food industry madhe, first of all, when I'm talking about food, since we all are you can say primary consumers or the omnivorous animal, we cannot prepare our food, so we have to depend on external components to get our food. Now, to get our food by external components, first of all, whatever the uncooked food, so can you tell me the difference between uncooked food and the digested food? What do you think? Uncooked food, basically upon food karto. So chemistry point of view, what is the composition of uncooked food and what is the composition of cooked food? What do you think? Mayor Prasad, Ishan, what do you think? Omkar, say something. Yash, Kanika, Varun, Tanvi, what do you think about uncooked food? Chemically, what is the composition of uncooked food? See, first of all, we cannot digest this food. So that food has to broken down into the simple substances which can be easily absorbed in the bloodstream. So logically, the uncooked food is nothing but the food which is in polymeric form. That food which we eat, let it be in the form of a starch. So all it is in a polymeric form. It is a heterogeneous mixture, and in the body with the help of the enzymes, when the digestion is done, that you can say polymeric foodstuff is been converted. We understand the meaning of polymer in chemistry. So it's with the enzymatic action, the digestion happens, and that polymeric form is been divided into simple monomeric form, which can be absorbed in the bloodstream. So this we know. So about the food, uncooked food, cooked food. So when I'm talking about the food, there are certain terms which are related with the, you can say about the quality of the food, the different flavor, smell, color, microbial spoilage. Now we know the meaning of microbial spoilage. We know that if that food is having more of the water, the microbes undergo fermentation process. They undergo by that they do their anaerobic respiration and they convert the food carbohydrates into, you can say, ethanol or carbon dioxide is evolved at the we call as a fermentation process. So all these chemical processes are something related with the quality of the food. So, and the simple, the microbial, now after that, the enzymatic actions. So when you put an enzyme, they are nothing but the proteins. So because of the enzymatic action, also the quality of the food differs. So certain terms which are associated, जर तुम्हाला ना पुढे फूड टेक्नॉलॉजी करायचं असेल, आता तो तुम्हाला 11th स्टँडर्डला बेसिक सगळे सायन्सचे सब्जेक्ट्स आहेत. पण इफ यू हॅव अ फ्लेअर इन फूड टेक्नॉलॉजी, तुम्हाला जर फूड न्यूट्रिशन मध्ये जायचं असेल तर या सगळ्याचा पुढे डिटेलिंग मध्ये स्टडी करायला लागतो. अँड अ व्हेरी बिग मार्केट इज इन्वॉल्व्ड इन दॅट बिकॉज वी नो we have developed, when we understood that how the spoilage of the food has been taking place, whoever the ones which are responsible for that food, then we maintain that food preservative techniques. So in India, which is a very which is a big bandar of the natural resources, so आपल्याकडे everything we countries which they don't have drinking water. So their complete food industry is based on packaged food. And when it is a packaged food, the food technology comes in picture where you have to apply. Like we also know Nor soup, all that packets or the packets. Even in other countries, they use the milk actually, which is the one which is most perishable. With the Tetra packs, you can store in your you can say in your fridge, and you can use it for a month. आपण जनरली इंडियामध्ये तेवढी ही फूडची इंडस्ट्री आहे तेवढी डेव्हलप नाहीये कारण वी हॅव अ नॅचरल रिसोर्सेस. बट इन अदर कंट्रीज द फूड टेक्नॉलॉजी हॅज डेव्हलप्ड अ लॉट. सो तुम्ही हे सगळे प्रोटीन शेक्स किंवा हे ज्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आहेत ना, दिस इज समथिंग विच इज रिलेटेड विथ द फूड टेक्नॉलॉजी where the food preservation is coming in the picture, where you can apply the physical methods of food preservation like boiling or keep it in the freezer. Okay, or these are the something physical eradication or removing the water from it, or you can add the natural preservatives like salt and sugar. Salt आणि शुगर काय करतात तर ते बेसिकली जे डिकम्पोजिशन होतं, जे फूड स्पॉलेज होतं मायक्रो ऑर्गॅनिझममुळे, त्या मायक्रोब्सची डेथ करतात बाय एक्झोऑस्मॉसिस, by simple osmosis method of diffusion of water from the dilute solution to concentrated solution. Simple. So food technology is food preservation is dealing with the traditional physical methods of food preservation, and there are some chemical methods of food preservation where we are using some chemical substances like sodium benzoate, sodium metaglutamate. If you look at all this instant का packet, सगळे तुम्ही instant फूडचे पॅकेट जर बघितलीत ना तर त्याच्या मागे हे फूड प्रिझर्वेटिव्ह लिहिलेले असतात, सोडियम मेटाग्लुटामेट, अँड दे हॅव रिटन ओव्हर देअर इट इज नॉट रेकमेंडेड फॉर द चाइल्ड 4 months or 12 months. So this chemical methods of the food preservation. So first the parameter we are going to learn with the food technology, food industry, where we are going to deal with the food. So what are the different components of natural food? How I can differentiate that food in terms of the quality of the food. Second, because of the fermentation, because of some microbial actions, because of some enzymatic actions, what we are doing, that we are changing the, that the food preservation is very important. And then we are going to learn the different methods of food preservation. After this methods, then we are going to learn the aspects of food quality. म्हणजे जो फूड आहे तो ऍक्च्युली प्रत्येक फूड, मग तुम्ही आपण बघितलं होतं की क्लोव्ह घ्या, कुठलाही घ्या, त्याला एक केमिकल कंपोनंट्स आहे. तुम्ही जर अल्डिहाइड जे फ्रुटी स्मेल, तुमच्याकडे जे बेसिकली आपण जे व्हॉट यू कॅन से सेंट वापरतो, they have all have esteric group. This is organic chemistry. So आपण जो organic component आहे, what we are going to learn, we are going to learn the aspect of food quality with the chemistry point of view. For example, rancidity, which is the simplest one, which we all have studied in our school level. So what is rancidity of the food? Actually, rancidity is nothing but the way we have seen the corrosion, where the metals are undergo corrosion, which is a permanent degradation, like the rusting of iron, or copper forming a green layer of copper carbonate, or silver forming a layer of silver sulfide. So this is a corrosion, which is a chemical change which is occurring with that metal, which is a permanent destruction and decay. So also we have seen the rancidity. Now this is something which is related with the food. In the rancidity, the vegetable oil, they undergo oxidation to form, they become rancid. You got it? And that rancid gives a foul, bad smell, and that is the degraded food stuff. Degraded food stuff because it is a lot of having trans fat or that saturated fats, which increases the bad cholesterol level. So तुम्ही जो नॉर्मल ऑइलला जे बेसिकली असं गोल्डन कलरचं असतं, त्यांना तुम्ही जस्ट खूप हीट केलं ना, when it comes in contact with the atmospheric air, it undergoes oxidation and that vegetable oil undergoes rancidity. त्याचा कलर चेंज होतो, ब्राऊन होतो. तुम्ही जर रस्त्यावर जर कधी वडापाव वगैरे खाल्ला असेल तर जो माणूस वडापाव तो करतो ना, त्याचं ऑइल बघा किती ब्राऊन कलरचं असतं, बिकॉज ऑफ द कंटिन्युअस हिटिंग ऑफ द सेम ऑइल that turns to rancidity. So we are going to learn that part also, that what are the methods which changes the quality of the food. In that, the browning of the cut fruits and vegetable. आता browning of the cut fruits and vegetable म्हणजे तुम्हाला माहिती आहे, ऍपल कट केलं तर ते ब्राऊन कलरचं होतं, वांग पण. सो हे जे आहे तर यांच्यामध्ये बेसिकली केमिकल चेंजेस होतात. सो बेसिकली all these are having the alcoholic group, phenolic group, and that phenolic group is changing into ketonic group. So जे हे ब्राउनिंग होतं ना, तर या लेसन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, chemistry, food technology point of view, why they changes into brown color, apple, wanga, even if you look at the potato also. So this is something a chemical change when that phenolic group is changing into a ketonic group. So that chemistry we are going to learn and what we can do to prevent it. So that is the first aspect, which is you can say deteriorating the food quality, is the browning of cut fruits and vegetable. The second is rancidity of fats and oil. So मला ऑइल तर मी आताच एक्सप्लेन केलं की rancidity of oil मध्ये काय होतं, त्याचं ऑक्सिडेशन होतं. When you heat it, the oxidation takes place, the way the combustion takes place, rancidity होते. आता हे what is this fats? Now you know हे fats आहेत ना, हे हायड्रोलाइज झाले. आता फॅट्स म्हणजे कुठले आहेत, तर ट्रायग्लिसराइड्स वगैरे जे फॅट्स आहेत, which are water insoluble fats, they when they undergo hydrolysis ना, they form certain glycerol and fatty acids, which means it is nothing but the degradation of that fats. So basically butter किंवा जे असतात ना solidified, that is comes in this category. Saturated and unsaturated trans fats. Saturated fats, the name suggests saturated fats are nothing but, see, fats are nothing but the carbohydrates, so which is having carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So saturated, when that long fatty chain of carbon atom is all are having single bond, it is called as saturated, and which is mainly solid in color. We have done how to convert alkene to alkane in our school level. Even आपण आता पण बघितलेलं होतं, आपण निकल कॅटलिस्ट ने रिडक्शन करतो, addition of hydrogenation changes that vegetable oil into vegetable like this. Saturated fats are nothing but that alkane wala part, which is a multi, it's a poly carbon atom compound. Unsaturated fat, which is a fat, but it is having one of the double bond in between them. Trans fat, where we have seen the isomer cis and trans, when the two groups are present on the either side. एकाच वरती असेल तर त्याला सिस म्हणतात, तर ते अपोजिट बाजूला असतील त्या कार्बोहायड्रेट्स मधले हायड्रोजन, it's called as a trans fat. And this trans fat is actually, it is basically त्यांनी ना कोलेस्ट्रॉल वाढतं. The trans fat is basically rises the cholesterol आणि त्यांनी ती जी heart attack, cholesterol level you must be knowing, which is a lipoprotein, which is nothing but this trans fat which is present inside the blood capillary. आणि ती काय करते, it is meant for reducing the friction of the blood pressure. कारण एवढा हाय प्रेशरचं ब्लड चाललेलं आहे ना, तर त्या ब्लड वेसलच्या ब्लड कॅपिलरीच्या prevent करतं. That is the main function of that lipoprotein cholesterol. But if it's in excess, it can reduce the passage of that blood flow through the blood capillary. So that is, so basically this fat is good. It is not causing any harm, but this trans fat is bad. Then also omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids, we know there is these are the naturally occurring omega-3 fatty acids, because you know the why it is called as a omega-3 fatty acids, कारण त्याच्यामध्ये जो डबल बॉन्ड असतो ना, तो त्या फॅटी ऍसिड सी डबल बॉन्ड OOH मध्ये डबल बॉन्ड असतो. That's the only difference, and it's always present at the last carbon atom. So what is the difference between saturated, unsaturated fatty acids and omega-3 fatty acids? Chemistry point of view, the difference between unsaturated fatty acids and omega-3 fatty acids. Unsaturated fatty acids ला ना जो डबल बॉन्ड असतो ना, तो कार्बनच्या चेन मध्ये कुठेही मधल्या कार्बनला असतो. तर इथे बॉन्ड असतो ना, तो ऑलवेज टर्मिनल कार्बन ऍटमला असतो. ओके, सो बेसिकली ते एकतर लास्ट कार्बन ऍटमला असतो किंवा कधी कधी एंड पासून तिसऱ्या जवळ असतो, एंड पासून तिसऱ्या चौथ्या कार्बन ऍटम पर्यंत असतो, मध्ये नसतो. आता omega-3 fatty acids are excellent because they are used in cod liver oil, walnut, अक्रोड वगैरे त्याच्यामध्ये हे खूप चांगलं फॅटी ऍसिड्स आहे. And the last what is antioxidants as a food additive. So what is a preventive measure? See, आपण रॅन्सिडिटी प्रिव्हेंट करायला केलेलं आहे की आपण जे हे बेसिकली लेस किंवा चिप्स असतात, कुरकुरेचे जे चिप्स असतात ते असे फुगलेले असतात, कारण त्याच्यामध्ये ते कम्प्लिटली फ्राईड असतं तेलामध्ये. सो द पॉसिबिलिटी दॅट ते खूप जुनं झालं ना, तर त्या चिप्सना वास येऊ शकतो, दे कॅन बिकम रॅन्सिड. सो ऑलवेज इट इज फ्लॅश विथ अँटीऑक्सिडंट, that is nitrogen gas. It prevents the oxidation of that food stuff, thereby not changing into rancid state. So this all this hey antioxidant चा chemical formula काय आहे? So apart from nitrogen, what are the general antioxidants which are used as a food in the food? That so in short we are going to learn the chemistry. We are going to learn the chemistry related with the food technology, where we are learning the quality of the food. We are going to learn the food preservation techniques, which are absolutely simple, and then we are going to learn the what are the parameters which retards the quality of the food. I hope it is you are understanding this part, everyone. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. समजतंय का?
Yes, ma'am.
कनिका, वरुण, एव्हरीवन. सो आपण ना एक काम करूया, आपण आधी सगळ्या नोट्स लिहून ठेवूया क्विकली, आणि मग आपण सगळं मी तुम्हाला एक्सप्लेनेशनचं काम करते. मी जे जे काही शेअर करते ना त्याचं तुम्हाला एक जनरल अंडरस्टँडिंग देते, अँड देन वी विल डू द एक्चुअली लेसन. सो इसके बाद में वी आर गोइंग टू राइट डाउन अबाउट नेचुरल फैट्स एंड देयर याच्यामध्ये पण खूप ही पण मोठी इंडस्ट्री आहे फूड टेक्नॉलॉजी. लाईक तुम्हाला हळूहळू आहे ना, तुम्ही जेव्हा काही गोष्टी शिकतायत ना, लाईक इन ऑल द सब्जेक्ट फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायो, मॅथ्स, सी टू इट दॅट तुम्हाला ना ज्या गोष्टींमध्ये इंटरेस्ट आहे, ज्या गोष्टी तुम्हाला वाटतात की तुम्हाला पुढे यू वॉन्ट टू डू द प्रोफेशन इन दॅट पर्टिक्युलर पार्ट, ग्रॅब इट. सॅच्युरेटेड फॅट मध्ये कोकोनट ऑइल येतं, म्हणूनच तर ते असं थिजतं. कोकोनट फॅट किंवा कोकोनट ऑइल म्हणून तर ते थंडीमध्ये का होतं, कारण त्याचं ते सॉलिडिफाय होतं. आता हे लाड आणि मार्गारीन आपण खात नाही, पण फॉरेन कंट्रीज मध्ये खूप खातात. वी आर इंटू वनस्पती घी. These are excellent. Health wise, all these oils are excellent. Olive oil, peanut oil, and the state is liquid. This is poly unsaturated sun. हे थोडं ना ह्याची स्टेट आहे ना जरी लिक्विड असली ना तरी ऍज कम्पेअर्ड टू मोनोसॅच्युरेटेड ऑइल आहे ना ते थोडस त्याची विस्कॉसिटी कमी असते बट इफ यू लुक एट द पॉली अनसॅच्युरेटेड ऑइल ना इफ यू कंपेअर विथ द पीनट ऑइल अँड द सनफ्लॉवर ऑइल ना दिस इज मोर विस्कस द विस्कॉसिटी is more because it's having a double bond and because of the carbon content is more all this sunflower oil soybean oil corn oil fish oil they are little viscous as compared to oil or olive oil and peanut oil because they are mono unsaturated. So can I clear this board?
एक मिनिट मॅम.
Okay. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Shall I clear the board? So now let's यहाँ पे food की industry is done. Now let's talk about let's talk about medicinal industry. So now I'm explaining you more of medicinal industry. So food industry is done. This is what we are going to learn. This is medicinal industry or medicinal chemistry. So where we are going to learn the medicine. एक हा चार्ट आहे ऍक्च्युली हा लेसन तसा इझी आहे फक्त ह्या चार्ट मधल्या गोष्टी केल्यात ना तर तुम्हाला लाईक अख्खा लेसन या नोट्स मधनच कळेल सो ओनली द प्रिसिजन द एक्झाम्पल दॅट वी आर गोइंग टू डू आफ्टरवर्ड्स सो आय एम टॉकिंग अबाउट सर्टन टर्म्स आता मी या मेडिसिनल केमिस्ट्री मध्ये जे एनाल्जेसिक्स करतात त्याचं मिनिंग तुम्हाला लिहून देते जस्ट टू फॉर युअर अंडरस्टँडिंग एनाल्जेसिक्स ड्रग्स which give relief from so तुम्हाला बेसिकली सी कॉम्बीफ्लाम अजिबात वापरू नका प्लीज फॉर पेन किलर नेवर यूज कॉम्बीफ्लाम इट इज नॉट एट ऑल गुड ड्रग जर तुम्हाला कुणालाही फॉर यू फॉर युअर पेरेंट्स कोणासाठी जर पेनिंग होत असेल ना द बेस्ट ड्रग इज क्रोसिन फॉर पेन रिलीफ नेवर टेक कॉम्बीफ्लाम बिकॉज ते एकदम वाईट ड्रग आहे So the next one is antimicrobials, the drug which kills the microbial cells, bacteria, fungi. Not viruses is actually not the correct one because the microbes that doesn't kill the viruses. So better we'll don't write it. This disinfectant. Disinfectant, you must be knowing the disinfectant we use to आपण आपल्या घरी जे वापरतो disinfectant. Dettol is disinfectant. The best example of disinfectant is Dettol. Then there is an antiseptic. SAF. आपण Pramycin वगैरे use करतो, sulfa drugs. So what is the difference between disinfectant and antibiotic? I'll explain you later on. Just write down. Over here, the medicinal industry is done. So done. Hello everyone.
Ma'am, 2
झालं
minutes.
लिहून?
Yes, ma'am.
So shall we start? Meher Prasad, Yash, Kanika, Omkar, Ishan.
Ma'am, 2 minutes.
Okay,
झाले.
I'll wait.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
can you share this on the group also?
ओके बरं पण मी त्याचं अरे आता मी तू लिहित नाही आहेस का?
लिहितो ठीक आहे मी स्क्रीनशॉट काढतो. लिहितो पण आहे प्लस
स्क्रीनशॉट घेतलंस तर बरं होईल.
हो ठीक आहे
पण
काढला
माझ्याकडे असं लिहिलेलं नाहीये वेगळे.
हो नाही काढला मी स्क्रीनशॉट.
काढला ना?
हो.
So done. Hello everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Done.
झालंय मॅम.
झालंय? Okay, so previously the way we have seen the chemistry or the chemicals which are used in food industry, now we are going to use some some chemical components which are used in medicinal chemistry. So what is this medicinal chemistry or the compound which are having medical properties? So to understand that compounds, I have just given you the some natural medicinal plants and their property, but they are mainly working with some. What is analgesics? Analgesics means these are the drugs which gives us relief from the pain. As I said, crocin, combiflam, but the combiflam is not good. So they are the pain reliever, painkiller tablets are analgesics, antimicrobials. So antimicrobials, that means they inhibits or kills the microbial cells, which includes basically the bacteria and fungi. Disinfectants is like a Dettol. So what is the difference between disinfectant and antiseptic? Disinfectant is very harsh. So the chemicals are harsh. So they have been applied on the non-living parts. So kutlahi surface वर, floor वर, we are using disinfectant. But we cannot use it on the living tissue. So disinfectant is like a phenol, Lysol, which we used on the floor. So the non-selective which kill a wide range of microorganisms basically on when they are applied on the non-living part. But when you apply it on the living part, what is that? It is called as an antiseptic. So these are applied to the living tissues that kills the bacteria present on that tissues and to stop their growth, which are called as antiseptic. They basically contains the sulfa drug soframycin. Okay, so Lysol, phenol, all is even the Dettol. You can apply it even as an antiseptic also, but mainly the phenol and Lysol, they are very harsh. You cannot apply on your skin. Antibiotics, now you are very familiar with the antibiotics. The antibiotics are derived from the you can say microbes like the bacteria or protozoa. First ever is penicillin, and which is to kill the toxins which are secreted in our body by some bacteria, where our WBCs cannot fight. The antibiotics works against that germ. The simplest antibiotic is used for the throat infection is azithromycin. So that azi are nothing but the antibiotics which are designed to target the bacterial infections in our body. So these are the different antibiotics. So if you look at this analgesic वगैरे, they cost wise they are very, ते सगळ्यात स्वस्त असतात. पण तुम्ही antibiotics बघितलेत ना, तर ते antibiotics थोडे costly असतात because they have been every antibiotic is used against a particular toxin. So that there is a specificity in that antibiotic. So medicinal chemistry. So if you like this, then you will have medicinal chemistry, basically, if you have an liking in the pharmaceutical industry, if you want to do B Farm and all this is going to come because you know where you are going to actually form. So basically, when I have components for my post graduation, so where we have drugs and dyes. So आम्ही ना हे सगळे aspirin आणि हे सगळे जे होते ना drugs, we used to prepare in the laboratory. So in short, apart from the natural ones, there are so many synthetic drugs and very big industries and very big companies are involved with that medicinal chemistry like Pfizer or Glaxo, Cipla, all this study, all this are dealing with the manufacturing of the drugs. Now there is a very big industry also booming, which is a vaccine industry. You must be knowing about the vaccine and that biotech and all that Poonawala's ka company. So all this medicinal chemistry is dealing with the formation of the production of the chemicals which are having this particular properties against the infection, and the medicinal plants which are nothing but the natural you can say naturally. So turmeric we use as an antiseptic, cinnamon antimicrobial for clove, दालचिनी, cinnamon is दालचिनी म्हणून दालचिनी घालून चहा पितात थंडीमध्ये. क्लोव म्हणजे लवंग, जनरली दात वगैरे दुखत असेल तर तिथे लवंग ठेवतात बिकॉज दॅट clove, lavang is antimicrobial and analgesic. It relieves it's a painkiller. Citrus fruits are used as an antioxidants. Amla is good for anti-diabetic property, antimicrobial property, and antioxidant property. So this is something. So आपण first like मी हा lesson आहे ना 3 compartment मध्ये divide केला. तर पहिला compartment मध्ये आपण सगळे chemistry learn करणार आहोत related with the food technology. Second compartment मध्ये we are going to learn the chemistry related with the medicinal chemistry. And the last one page, so if you have written, the last page is the cleansing industry, detergents. So chemistry of clean agents, chemistry of cleansing agents, which mainly comprise of soap. Now you all have done soap in your school level. So what are soaps? Soaps are sodium or potassium salts of long chain fatty acids. Fatty acids means carboxylic acid, but many number of the carbon atom are present. But we have seen that the soap cannot be used in the hard water where the many salts are present. So where the soaps cannot be used in the hard water, we can use the synthetic detergents. Synthetic detergents which can be used in soft water as well as hard water, contain is containing sodium salt of alkyl hydrogen sulfates or sodium salts of long chain of going to see in short the chemistry and the formula of all these components of the different areas. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
हो मॅम
Okay.
झालंय.
Yes, ma'am.
This is actually the total content of the lesson which we are going to learn from this part. Okay. So yeah, let's begin. So in short, एक idea आली आपण या lesson मध्ये काय करणार आहोत? Hello everyone.
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am.
हो मॅम.
So yeah, this is the total lesson. So we are going to learn the application-based chemistry, which can be used in food technology, synthetic, you can say the detergents and the medicinal, where we are using the different components. So if I start my lesson, let's open your textbook, page number 261. And let's begin with the lesson. So chemistry in everyday life. So can you recall, this is something we have done in our school level. What are the components of balanced diet? All the nutrients here, carbohydrate, protein, fats, vitamins and minerals, other components of balanced diet. So why is food cooked? What is the difference in the physical state of uncooked food and the cooked food? Explain you that it is important, because why we could cook food, because the uncooked food is not, we are not able to digest that uncooked food. So for that reason, why, what is the composition of that uncooked food? It is a polymer. It is a heterogeneous suspension kind of, you must be knowing about the suspension. So homogeneous mixture is called as solution, true solution, salt in water. Heterogeneous mixture is made up of suspension and colloids, where the suspension is salt in water and the colloid is like a milk, blood and everything. So basically this uncooked food is present in that heterogeneous mixture form. It's a polymeric form which our body is not able to digest. That's why we cook food. So when you cook food, because of the enzymatic action which is acting on that polymeric form, that has been broken down to form the simple substances which we call as a monomer, and that monomers are absorbed in the bloodstream, and from that monomer glucose, there is no substitute for glucose in order to get the energy. So we, to get the energy in the form of ATP, that's the reason the cooked food, we eat cooked food. So that's why we now have the vestigial organs in form of appendix, because that appendix is meant to digest the cellulose starch. But now we are completely eating the cooked food, so it's a rudimentary organ right now. What are the chemicals that we come across every day? So chemicals in form of food. So whatever we have discussed, that are the chemicals which we have come across every day. The life, the atmosphere, the earth and the universe all have evolved over billions of years to the present state. The evolution continues progress and accompanied by a variety of the chemical changes. Natural phenomena such as weathering, lightning, eruption of volcanoes, photosynthesis, ripening of fruits, fermentation, release of fragrance, water, and many others take around involved integrate chemistry. So every process, atmospheric lightning, the chemical change, the forming the nitrogen and oxygen, forming nitrogen oxide, fermentation, anaerobic respiration gives rise to the carbon dioxide, ripening of the fruits, same. So all these natural phenomena are nothing but the chemical changes which are happening. So chemistry is involved in a variety of the life processes. Those occur within or across the body. Human civilization in different regions of the world discovered uses the various plants, animals, and mineral products for the benefits of the human life. With the advent of modern science, scientists discovered structures of various constituents, chemicals in the natural materials. Synthetic organic chemistry has led to the advancement in science, synthesis of molecules and new molecules with the structural variation. Revolutionized materials are used in all walks of human life. This influence is seen in all aspects of the basic needs such as food, clothing, shelter, and beyond. So this is a general idea to explain you how we have to, it's a very big component of chemistry. So in this chapter, we consider some aspects of food chemistry, medicinal chemistry, and the chemistry of cleansing materials with reference to the compounds having simple structural features. Now we have only one lesson in 12th standard. You will study 3 different lessons. This you can say chemistry in everyday life. So this is a simple understanding. So let's start with the basics of food, you can say chemistry. Let's start with the first one. So we are dealing with the food chemistry. Food provides nutrients. These are used by the body as the sources of energy. This also regulate growth, maintain and repair body tissues. The nutrients comprise carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. Grains, fruits, and vegetables provide the carbohydrates, um, vitamins, meat, fish, eggs, dairy products, and pulses provide proteins and vitamins. Lipids are provided by the vegetable oil, dairy products, and animal fat. Most nutrients are organic macromolecules. Proteins and carbohydrate are polymeric. Polymer. Many monomers come together to form a polymer, and as a result of digestion, food digestion, these proteins and carbohydrates that are polymeric proteins and carbohydrate ultimately break down into monomers, namely alpha amino acids and glucose, which is the end product of protein is amino acids and the end products of carbohydrates is glucose, respectively, under the enzymes, predominantly digestive enzymes, which we have studied in our lower grades, that is salivary amylase, trypsin, lipase, pancreatic amylase. So cooking makes food easy to digest. During the cooking process, high polymers. So highlight kara. This is the first question they can ask you. Why we should cook the food? So cooking makes the food easy to digest. You can lihala sangat nahi, just highlight kara. Cooking makes the food easy to digest. The first question. During the cooking process, high polymers of carbohydrates or proteins are hydrolyzed to smaller polymers. The uncooked food mixture, described as heterogeneous suspension, becomes a colloidal matter on cooking, and because of the smaller size of the resultant constituent nutrient molecule, the cooked food is easier to digest than uncooked food. So this is the first question can be asked from this lesson, why it is better the food or it is difficult to digest the uncooked food. So you're going to write down the composition of that uncooked food as it is a heterogeneous, you can say suspension, and they are containing more mainly the carbohydrates are protein. They are present in a polymeric form, which are difficult to digest. So they ultimately, when you cook the food, they ultimately they are broken down during the digestion. So for the cooked food, that heterogeneous suspension is converted into colloidal form, and because of the small size of that polymer, they becomes easy to digest. Thus, now, so we have seen the food, mainly why it is necessary to cook food and what are the chemical changes that takes place when we cook the food, and why it is better to cook the food, and what is the composition of uncooked food. So done with that part. So let's talk about the food quality chemistry. So why is food stored for a longer time so as to make it available, like food cast easy? What are the methods for the preservation of the food? See, there are natural methods of the preservation of food. Just now I've told you, you can heat it, boil it, keep it in the refrigerator, freezing kara, kiva you can put some, you can say naturally, like evacuation, remove the air so that the oxidation do not take place. Keep it in the airtight container, or you can add some, or you can add some natural preservatives, some chemical preservatives. So all this are nothing but the techniques to preserve the food. What is meant by the quality of the food? Just now I have given you the smell, the flavor, the shape, that everything is nothing but the quality of the food. So quality of the food is an important aspect of the food chemistry. Food quality is described in terms of the parameters such as flavor, smell, texture, color, and the microbial spoilage. So enzymes are present naturally in all the foods. So pratyek foods are naturally occurring food like clove, eucalyptus oil, everyone has got a chemical formula. प्रत्येकाचा एक chemical formula आहे आणि that is very very important. So quality of food मध्ये काय होतं? The quality of the food changes on shelving mostly due to enzymatic action. कारण त्या food मध्ये जे enzymes naturally present असतात, because of the enzymatic action, because that enzymes are generally in inactivated form. But because of the pH change, because of the temperature change, that enzyme activates, and the quality of the food eventually changes. So the quality of the food changes on shelving mostly due to the enzymatic action, chemical reactions with the environment, and the action of microbes, microbial decay. Some of these effects are beneficial. Like which of the effects can be beneficial? Fermentation, which is the very good source of getting, see, fermentation, which is a natural change in the quality of the food, but it is a good effect in the sense it turns that into curd, cheese, curd, all these you can say alcoholic beverages, all are based on that fermentation process. So to some extent, that change which is happening with the quality of the food is favorable, but not every time the changes that are happening because of the microbial changes are favorable. So we have seen the food poisoning also, Clostridium. So sometimes the bacteria are good in terms of rhizobium, like the nitrogen fixation or the fermentation. These are good, but sometimes all the bacterial actions are not good for the quality of the food. So some of these effects are beneficial. For example, setting of milk into curd, where the pH of the milk decreases and it becomes acidic, and flour, like for all the bakery products where we use the flour, where we add the dry yeast. So all cakes, pastries, all that, how, because the rising of the dough, because the carbon dioxide, which is a product of anaerobic respiration, trapped in that. So most changes brought about by the microorganisms and the interaction with the environment. However, these are the good changes, like good changes where we are using the fermentation in the bakery industry or in the milk industry, but sometimes these changes are not good. So food preservation and the food processing methods aimed at the prevention of undesirable changes of the quality of the food and attempt about the desirable changes. So the food preservation techniques, they are mainly based on the desirable changes and not like to prevent the undesirable changes. So basically, आता ह्याच्यानंतर मी जे तुम्हाला लिहून दिलं होतं की browning of cut fruits, vegetables, these are some changes and some other desirable changes which are happening with the food stuff. Let's talk about problem 16.1 first. So how are the chemical reactions of food stuff with the environment controlled during storage? Primarily, the oxygen and the microorganisms in air are responsible for adverse effects in the stored food. So mainly the components which are more reacting are the oxygen and the microorganisms in air. The exposure of the stored food to the atmosphere is minimized by storing them in the airtight container so that the atmospheric oxygen will not come in contact. And evacuation म्हणजे removing air from it or filling it with the N2 gas. So these are some technique of food preservation. Keeping an airtight container, evacuating the air, or filling the air with the N2 gas, basically done in the chips. The rate of the chemical reaction decreases and with the lowering of the temperature. Thus, refrigerator is also useful for controlling the chemical reaction of the foodstuff with the environment. The reactions of foodstuff with the environment are catalyzed by enzymes. Due to boiling, the enzymes become denatured. See, generally, आपण freezing करतो. You know, मी तुम्हाला सांगितलेलं असेल की तुम्ही जर थंडीमध्ये स्वित्झर्लंडला बर्फात जरी खेळला तरी सर्दी होत नाही. The reason is that the microbes only exist. Microbial, they only exist. त्यांचा एक active area आहे between 25 to 50 degrees Celsius. So they maximum त्या temperature active असतात. So below 5 degrees Celsius and above 50 degrees Celsius, the activity of the microbes is not that high. So basically त्या temperature ला त्यांची activity कमी असते. So either by freezing or by boiling, तुम्ही activity hamper करतात, and because of not having the microbial growth on that foodstuff, because of freezing and boiling, the microbial decay will not take place. The another decay takes place not only because of the microbes, some of the enzymes which are naturally present in that foodstuff. आता ती enzymatic activity आपण कशी prevent करू शकतो? We know that biomolecule enzyme is nothing but protein. सगळे enzymes हे chemically proteins आहेत, so they are highly susceptible. They are very thermally unstable. So they exist just like microbes. These enzymes also exist at a particular temperature. So if you heat it, they become denatured. What is the meaning of denaturation of protein? So by boiling त्यांचं coagulation होतं, just like egg protein. तुम्ही अंड्यामधलं जे प्रोटीन आहे तुम्ही बॉईल केलं ना तर ते coagulate होतं. So this enzymes being protein, they can also be denatured. That means तुम्ही त्यांची activity, so basically you can do the food preservation. So the two components which are very, very important for the food preservation technique is not allowing the contact of oxygen, and secondly the microorganisms. That oxygen is very, very important of the enzymes which are present in that foodstuff, and the microbial, because of the microbial activity in terms of the fermentation, or you can say that decay, they are going to change the quality of the food. So this is food. मी एक 5 मिनिटं फक्त I'm going to tell you the first and then I'm going to stop. मला माहितीये lesson easy आहे, थोडासा बोर वाटत असेल. आपण फक्त पहिलंच करूया browning of the cut fruits and vegetable, and then we will stop. So after understanding the food chemistry, after understanding why we have to cook the food, what is the composition of uncooked food, so what is quality of the food, what are the techniques to preserve the food, what are the factors which hamper the quality of the food, and what should be done for that, not allowing to degrade the quality of the food, and what are the factors which are good, what are the bads, and what are the techniques food preservation. After understanding this, let's see the natural way, what are the changes which are taking place in the quality of the food naturally or either by the reaction with the atmosphere. So browning of cut fruits and vegetables. When fruits like banana, apple, vegetables like potato, bottle gourd म्हणजे वांग, are peeled and sliced, sooner or later they turn brown. Cutting action damages the cells of that foodstuff, resulting in the release of chemical. जेव्हा आपण कट करतो तेव्हा त्या chemicals, त्याच्यातले जे cells आहेत ते basically damage होतात, and some chemicals are released from that foodstuff. With the pH prevailing in fruits, vegetables, the polyphenols. Can you see the phenol? We know what is phenol. Phenol is nothing but आपण chemistry मध्ये बघितलेलं होतं. This is an alcoholic group. This is an alcohol, ROH. And when that R is nothing but CnH2n plus 1, which is a straight chain. But when that alcoholic group is attached to benzene ring, it is called as phenol. So या foodstuff मध्ये they are polyphenolic group are present. So with the pH prevailing in fruits and vegetables, the polyphenols are released. हे या foodstuffs मधनं multiple polyphenols, हे खूप polyphenols असतात, ते released होतात. So when you cut this foodstuff, these polyphenols are released in the atmosphere, and that alcohols are readily gets oxidized, and they get readily oxidized to form quinone. त्यांनी काय होतं, quinone बनतं. So this is phenol forming quinone. So ketone, this is ketone, and when that ketone is attached to that benzene ring, when it is attached to benzene ring, quinone. So that polyphenols which are released are oxidized by oxygen in the air to the action forming an enzyme called as quinones. These quinones further reactions including polymerization, giving brown color product tannin. आपल्याला माहितच नसतं की त्या फूडस्टफ मध्ये अशी केमिकल रिएक्शन होते. म्हणजे काय होतं, तो लेट्स टेक एन ऍपल आपण जेव्हा कट करतो तेव्हा त्याची जी सेल आहे ती डॅमेज होते, and it releases the chemicals in form of polyphenol. When that polyphenol chemical comes in contact, which is on the surface of that apple, the chemical released on the surface of the apple, when that polyphenol, when it comes in contact with the atmospheric oxygen, undergoes oxidation, and that alcohol immediately forms a ketonic group, that is quinone. Now this quinone, multiple quinol molecules undergo polymerization to form a brown color product which is called as tannin, and that brown coloration which happens on that apple after cutting it is because of that tannin, which is nothing but chemically a polymeric product of quinone. This browning action can be slowed down using a reducing agent मी ते ऑक्सिडेशनचं immediately reduction केलं. So if I'm not able to form that quinone, which is an we can say that oxidized form of that polyphenol, तर reduction केलं तर परत ते phenolच form होईल. So you can slow down it by using a reducing agent like sulfur dioxide, ascorbic acid, vitamin C. म्हणजे थोडक्यात तुम्ही जर लिंबू लावलं त्याच्यावरती ना, ascorbic acid, vitamin C is present in all citrus. If you put lemon on it or by changing pH, म्हणजे काय करायचं आपण त्याचा pH lower down करायचा. Lower the pH by adding edible oil such as lemon juice or vinegar. So these are, apple cider. Have you heard about apple cider? Which is nothing but the vinegar and that acid is present in that apple, and that pH is maintained, not allowing the browning of that apple. So first we have seen where we are changing the quality of the food. The first natural phenomenon, which is quality of the food change comes in, is browning of cut fruits and vegetables. So what we have seen in that the vegetables, some vegetables or some fruits which are having the polyphenol group chemical present in their chemical composition, when you cut it, that polyphenol releases, chemical comes on the food surface and it undergoes oxidation to form quinone. This quinone rises to from brown color substance, tannin. But if you allow the reduction of that substance, then it immediately changes by using SO2 or ascorbic acid or citric acid, lemon juice, vinegar, then that brown color substance will not form. Simple. Please write it. I'll stop today's session afterward. Please write down first natural phenomenon which is happening, which is quality of the food, browning of cut fruits and vegetables. I'm more interested in the chemical change. झालं का लिहून? हॅलो एव्हरीवन.
झालंय मॅम.
Everyone? Kanika, Ishan, Mayor Prasad, Yash? So if it is written, then we will stop today's session. Yeah. Chalo, bye-bye. Bye. Good day.
बाय मॅम.
Bye-bye.